But that looks like it's also still getting my voice. It looks like I'm streaming. I haven't done this in a while. Well, knowingly anyway. Okay. So, oh, apparently I'm live. So, that's not the main image I wanted to start with. Hello, everyone. Well, no one at this point. So, for the benefit of you watching later, I wanted to record live a portion of my next video. I've already recorded the definition and the intro and the history and etymology portions. What I wanted to do here was go through and read a lot of the field research you submitted, the answers to my question, how would you define truth? So we'll take a look at that. And seeing as there's still doesn't appear to be anybody watching at the moment, we can get started. Well, maybe one person, but I think that's me. So, and if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I've got that open on one of my other monitors. So, let's take a look. That's not what I wanted either. There we go. Okay. Start here. First of all, I would really like to thank Paul Vanderklay for taking the time to help me with this. I know where he was going with his definition, and I absolutely loved it. I was looking for something a little bit... Well, no, I wasn't. It was great. Here, I'll play a clip of it. Or I'll try and find the most
of the Jordan
pertinent part
Sam Harris
of it.
Conversations. Video lexicographer made a little video and asked me how to define truth and if I would talk about how to define truth. And I've been rolling that around in my head for the last day or so and thought I'd make a little video because it actually comes in quite nicely with a lot of the other thoughts that I've been working on. So the career atheists, materialists like Sam Harris and Matt Dillahunty say that truth is that which corresponds to reality. And we don't believe in those because I just got, told by Sam Harris in 2 different videos, I got to give up my ridiculous religiousness because who would want to believe these lies? What's the difference between a lie and an illusion? They're both lies. This system doesn't work. Which is why they invented pragmatism. Truth is that which eternally and joyfully stands.
That's his definition.
Truth saw, knows, accounts, and has authority over everything from the start. Truth was there in that moment, but was not contained by that moment. Truth knew the outcome and consequences of every subsequent moment in every layer. Truth is inexhaustible, yet it itself exhausts all that exists on every layer. Now, if you look at these lines, there's a 3-letter word that's the opposite of dog that seems to have all of these qualities. Truth is that which eternally and joyfully stands. A human being once said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Think about that sentence and think about the words on this page.
I happen to agree with him. I think that's what truth is. But for a dictionary, my job is to try and describe how people use the word. And the definition I gave at the beginning, I think, maintains a little bit of this. I replaced I think I replaced the word stands with faithful. And so anything that's faithful to what is real is basically the definition I put at the beginning of my video. And so I really liked his definition. I liked his use of the word joyfully, because if you watch his full video, which I highly recommend, he's talking from the perspective of reading C.S. Lewis. And C.S. Lewis has this concept that he talks about called joy, which is a very complex word for C.S. Lewis, but it's... I'll just watch his video and read some Lewis. I highly recommend that. Now let me go back. Welcome to the video dictionary. Read some of the other submissions. Point Curation, one of my patrons. You can become one of my patrons over on patreon.com/ what is it? I can't even remember what it is now. Patreon.com/lexicechographer. I don't think anybody submitted any on there, so we're good. But submitting on YouTube is fine, because that way at least it's all in one place. Point Curation says, I don't think there is truth without a person understanding that truth. Which is actually close to what Paul was saying. But Paul was saying that the truth is the truth that exists before humans was experiencing the truth. If that makes any kind of sense. It does. I think it does. If a tree falls in the forest, the event itself is the truth. Any statement made about it is a replication, translation, recollection. I'm not going to try pronouncing that name. The treachery of the images. Haven't looked into that yet. Further, I do not think truth is wholly an idea. Truth is action and expression. An investigation into truth must be conducted honestly and without unfairly acting on prejudgment. Finally, the truth has places we ought not to go. I think that's what he meant. It's conceivable that forced human experimentation would yield results of scientific value and produce scientific truth, but was it a true pursuit to begin with? On that realization, it's hard to read other people's text. It's hard to read my own sometimes. On that realization that it was ethically suspect, it would be true to continue. Would it be true to keep the results or scrub them? The truth is itself the pursuit of truth. Where will the pursuit of truth lead us? And here, from the Cozy Comfy Poetry channel, I recommend everyone go check out her channel. I think the truth depends on a person's understanding of the issue at hand. We can believe untrue things and think they are true. I thought this was a very interesting definition of truth, because it approached because what some people call true is untrue by most. What one person would call true, that they believe to be true, could be untrue. So I see where she's going with that, and I think that's a very important thing to think about. Adherent of Lady Columbia says that truth is indisputable fact and consistencies that are a function or were a part of reality at a point. He says it's rough, but that's what he sees it as. I think I had a long conversation with him here. Does indisputable in this... Oh, yeah, I remember. Does indisputable mean unfalsifiable? I'm not sure it made complete sense when I wrote this out, but what I was trying to get at is if a fact is indisputable, meaning it cannot be disputed. So if it's unfalsifiable, never mind. I won't even go there. I probably won't even include that in my final video. I'm going to do that word at some point. It's on my list. Oliver von Arx. Truth is, I believe, used in a subjective manner mostly. Again, he's touching upon what the Cozy Comfy Poetry channel mentioned. Is there absolute truth? Yes, undoubtedly there is. But to pack truth in words is quite a challenge, even the meaning of the word itself. And this word is probably one of the most abused words of all, sadly. Edit. Real truth is always objective. And that's why, actually, now that I think of it, the definition I created and put at the beginning of my video fits with this and with Cozy Comfy Poetry channel's definition, because I said truth is also something that is consistent or faithful to a story, like the circumstances and events in a story. So if someone's story is incorrect in their mind, their truth can be consistent with that. So that, I think my definition fits well within these well within the damn it. Sorry. In my definition, I added that truth is also something that's consistent with stories, within a story. And I added that as part of my desire to match it up closely with what I... Sorry, wow. Okay, so when I created my definition at the beginning of this video, I added a part at the beginning, or wow, I hope I am the only one watching at this point. Okay, so if we go back and we look at say Cozy Comfy Poetry channel's definition, because people believe things that are untrue are true, and I didn't realize it at the time. I was writing my definition of the word truth because I was trying to write it how most people would use it, and I was trying to write it consistently with what I've heard Jordan Peterson, Eric Weinstein, is it Eric or is it the other one? I can't remember, but okay. Let me start over again. I know how I'm going to do this. I know exactly how I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this differently than I currently am. You're watching stuff as I'm changing how I'm doing this. I'm going to stop recording that track. I'm going to leave the live stream going. And I'm going to use the audio from the live stream directly in my video, so that it may go up and down, and I think I'm going to add the... Actually, I might just make the reviewing field research a live stream event that I could do on a regular basis. I think this will be fun, because I kind of want to go back to including not having so much of this field research stuff included in my actual video. I'll do the... This is good. I'm making progress here. This is good. I'm making progress. So, what's going to happen is I'm going to use the clips of what I did, of what I read from these already. So I'm going to go back and continue to do that. Okay. The only person I missed from this page is Richard Sorry, can't pronounce names. I could practice it a couple times, maybe get it, but I'm not even going to try. Richard. I would define truth as that which is not false. The immediate objection is that this allows for multiple truths, to which I answer yes. Okay, this one was an essay. I guess I could cover I'll read the whole thing since I'm doing a live stream right now. This sentence, consider measuring the length of a line. You say it's 1 inch, and I say it's 2.54 centimeters. Okay, that makes sense. 99% of speed, frame of reference, speed of light. Again, this goes back to my definition with circumstances of a story, and the truth is something that's faithful to that. This sentence is false. First of all, I don't like that. That's not a paradox, because this doesn't always refer to this. It's like, consider this sentence. And I mean, this could be referring to this up here. Could be referring to this down here. This doesn't indicate that it's being self-referential. But that's just semantics and grammar. I don't want to deal with that at the moment. It isn't sense in the false logical meaning. So it is true in 3 frames, but false in 1. Okay. Well, this is the part that a materialist would argue that we can arrive at this meta-knowledge. Jordan Peterson JPB, is he talking about Peterson there? I thought he was. Maybe not. Argues that evolution did not endow us with the ability to discern this meta-knowledge. If I understand him correctly, this meta-knowledge seeps through underlying metaphoric substructures or structures, but is not directly observable. The Darwinian view. Darwinian view. Truth serves life. If it doesn't promote life, then it is not true. I think this is closer to my truth is that which is not false. And I like the bicolored ping. Okay, going back to the bicolored ping pong ball. Contradictory truth are not resolved because the knowledge exists. Meta level we may not have access to. And again, I think this goes back to my definition where the circumstances of the story are what matters. Or what our truth is, so that way you can have the truth and consistency within the world of a video game or the world of a movie or book. So you can have truth in Star Trek that's different. So something that's true about the Star Trek world is not true about ours, and that still makes sense. Or somebody's lived an experience where they believe something is the truth because it's consistent with their experience, even though it may not be. Like the flat earth stuff that people for some reason believe. If their experience is limited enough where they just experience what appears to be this flat plane, that may be what they call the truth. And so when they use the word truth, they're referring to something that is consistent with their story. Okay, let's move on. I think I had one in here from Tim. Where is that? Why is it going back up? There it is. Okay. From Tim Worthington. So, debates with JPB and Sam Harris aside, I don't really like JPB's pragmatic definition of truth. I'm going to go simple. That which corresponds to reality. This definition also influenced mine. It's pretty much mine. I added the part about stories at the end, and I replaced the word corresponds with faithful. Because I did really like this one. I challenged him a little bit. Like, this was my original working definition. That which can be relied upon when tested or needed. And he's like, can truth be tested? And at that point, I realized what he was going for, the same thing that Paul was going for, and because I agree with both of them on that same idea, I changed my definition. Okay, where was my next one? I think there was one in here. Without having looked... Oh, here. Cass Wegkamp. I hope I pronounced that correctly. This is from Twitter. Without having looked it up, I would define truth as a bimodal classification indicating whether the classified entity is part of objective reality or not. He guessed the word came from Greek. The original word didn't. The word we use today didn't come from Greek. I do mention the Roman origins, which are interesting in my history and etymology section, which I might go over a little bit later in this live stream. Let's see. And then we'll head over to BitChute. Jennifer L. Ayers says the definition is reality. JPS from DFW. Truth does not change. Truth is immutable. Truth cares not for social norms or sensibilities. It is permanent, inflexible, consistent, and infallible. Truth is salvation. Great question, by the way. Hashtag Trump 2020. Now, I think a lot of people think that's what they mean when they use the word truth. But when someone says something like, the truth is, they're generally referring to their story. Now, my definition does include stuff that doesn't change because it's that which is faithful to reality. But it also, I believe, includes more than that. The definition goes beyond this. Now, Ray, I like his definition too. Anything that goes unquestioned because of the overwhelming majority believe it is correct. Conventional wisdom. This worked. And actually, there was an episode of The Orville that I really liked that this reminded me of, where they're on a planet where everything is voted on, up and down. Like, even people have upvote and downvote buttons. It's like a whole planet that's Reddit. And there's a newscast playing in the background, and someone says that's been proven wrong because the people have voted on it. Have voted that it's false. And that's what struck me about his response here to the question, because that's how people view the truth sometimes. And I wanted that idea in my definition, and I think I got it in there because that's part of the faithful to the story kind of idea. And Cass also posted on here. So, this is actually a lot of fun. I think I'm going to do this more often. I'm going to maybe cut portions out of this and add it to my video. I might not. I don't think anybody actually watched. I didn't see anyone in the chat. But next time, I'm going to actually announce that I'm doing this. I'm going to give you a heads up. And I might actually get some interaction. So I think what my plan will be for my next video is I will upload the field research video asking for the definition. I will then announce a date for the live stream where I will review the responses. I won't announce it in the video because I want to get responses coming in, and I don't think I have a large enough channel to get a whole bunch of responses right away. So I want to have some built up before I do the live stream. So I'll announce that somehow. So follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Gab, Minds. It'll be announced in all those places. And definitely come join me over here on Patreon. I've added a new tier to the $10 a month. Now, this one I thought would be fun. I want to play Words with Friends with people. I'm not super good at it, or maybe I'm just playing against people who cheat and, look words up and add stuff to them and just do it that way. But the way I play strategically more than I do trying to just get long words. So I'll try and prevent you from getting any of the letter bonuses, which I find actually more difficult with Words with Friends than I do with Scrabble. And actually, I could probably add to this tier. I'll make a really high tier where I'll actually go travel to you and play Scrabble with you if you want. If anyone's interested, let me know. But please come over here, sign up. I've got a Discord. I'm not on it because nobody else is on it. I would like that to get filled up. If any of you use Discord, let me know and I'll get you a link. Now, another resource that I've put together that I don't think a lot of people have used is here we go. It's www.lexicographer.com. It's my actual web page. So I've started putting the field research in as a temporary placeholder for the new words that are coming. But here it's got links to all of the video sites that I upload to. Whoa, I didn't add those. Okay, but yeah, normally I have YouTube, BitChute, DTube, YouTube, Facebook, and just for kicks, I'll probably be adding Pornhub. I may not post it on here, but I don't know. I might. Just trying to be edgy, I guess. So, but please bookmark this site. It's got my most recent featured. You can go through here. It's got kind of an alphabetical breakdown. You click on a letter and it brings them up in alphabetical order. And then adjective, nouns, and all that kind of stuff. It's even got a place where you can suggest a word to be added. That just sends me an email. So if you just need to send me an email, fill that out. That'll get my attention real quick. Oh, and I haven't updated that yet. I remember at one point BitChute changed their name to Speak Out. So I need to go fix that. Okay. Well, thank you for watching. I've had a good time with this live stream. Okay. Good night. Or wait, one more thing before we go. I would like to do the commentary. I kind of already did it. Okay, let me try it again. I'll just look at the camera. Okay. Wow, I do not look pretty at the moment. I'm not going to use this video in my final video. Maybe a little bit. Okay. Prescription. Okay, this is gonna, I want this to sound good, so I'm going to record. It might do a lot of starting and stopping, but I figured I might as well do it live since I'm already doing it. And it's 5 in the morning. In fact, here we go. We'll do it this way. Hello. Yep, doing stupid beatboxing. I can do that. There we go. This is Audacity. This is the program I use for recording my audio. Got my mic right here. I don't have the sock in front of it this time, but I have it pointed at my face and I'm breathing away from it, so I shouldn't get the pop, pop, pop filters sound required. So, prescription and commentary. Why does it seem so quiet? Probably because I'm streaming and recording at the same time. Oh well. Okay. As I was going through the field research content that you guys provided me with, and thank you for that. I really appreciate all your contributions and everything you do. I realized that there were two main definitions. There was what actually exists and what is true to someone personally. Like, what is truth to someone else? A good example of this was the submission by the Cozy Comfy Poetry Channel, who basically said that truth is a lot of times subjective to the person. They can believe something that's not true, that they can believe something to be true that is not true, but is true to them, and they would call that true. And that made sense to me, that somebody could call something true that isn't. So I needed to incorporate that into my definition that still held that something that is true is something that is based in reality. And so what I came up with was the definition you saw at the beginning of the video. I included something that is faithful to the circumstances and events in a story, because the story is the lived experience of a person. The truth can be both of those things. And I think this also fit in very well with Jordan Peterson's definition, where it's something that helps life exist. So when I say that it's faithful to a story, it's faithful to the story of like the evolution of a people. So like in the Brett Weinstein example of the porcupine shooting quills, keeping people further away from it, that's true in that story about the porcupine shooting quills, but it's not true in reality. But it's faithful to that story, and it's something that when that story is told, does protect people. I think that was a very interesting way of putting it, that I just put it that way, but I hope that makes sense why I made the definition the way I did. People don't always use the word truth to mean factual. And it's the job of a lexicographer to define a word the way people use it. And I think that I found a good compromise for a very, very difficult word in the definition I came up with. Now, Now, when I asked Paul Vanderklay for help defining the word, he created a video that was over an hour long, delving deep into the subject. And I loved every moment of it. I've listened to it 3 times now. And I loved his definition. that... Here, let me look it up. Definition. I've got to find Paul's definition now. Oh, now I'm checking my thing. Justin Trouble is got a new video up, so I'll watch that as soon as I'm done with this. Okay, where is Paul's video? Oh, that's a link to his channel. This is Paul Vanderklay's channel. He's a Calvinist pastor. I'm not really a Calvinist. I'm not sure what I am anymore. Definitely still a Christian. But I've been watching a lot of his stuff, and it's been making a lot of sense. Let me find his video here and find his definition. There it is. His definition. I've listened to it 3 times now, and I loved his definition. I knew exactly where he was going with it before he got even part of the way into his video, but I love where he went with it. It makes sense, and I think it works. So, truth is that which eternally and joyfully stands. Now, from a Christian perspective, when Jesus says he is the way, the truth, and the light,
truth is that which...
Oops. That was not what I wanted. And the light. When Jesus perspective, when from now. Okay, I don't think I want to include that. Now this is Paul's definition of God, and I loved the words he chose to use here. Eternally is perfect for truth. A lot of people use truth that way, as something that is always true. Now, the other word that really surprised me, but I am so happy that he used, is joyfully. I know he used that word because he's reading a lot of C.S. Lewis, and I think that's C.S. Lewis's favorite word to describe the experience of God. And so to be experiencing truth is to be experiencing joyfulness. To be experiencing God is to be experiencing joyfulness. So I thought that was a fun video. I highly recommend you go over to Paul's channel and watch it. I love the way he reasons out that definition, going through Jordan Peterson debating with, I can't even remember, with, why can't I remember his name? What's his name? Sam Harris. Jordan Peterson going through Jordan Peterson's debates with Sam Harris. It's very interesting to listen to the differences between these two men and Paul's perspective on it as a pastor. Okay, so let me see if I can find, there's a piece of text I wanted to share. This is, I mentioned this in my history and etymology section. Prometheus, that potter who gave shape to our new generation, decided one day to sculpt a statue of truth. using all his skill so that she would be able to regulate people's behavior. As he was working, an unexpected summons from the mighty Jupiter called him away. Prometheus left the cunning Trickery in charge of his shop. Trickery had recently become one of the god's apprentices. Fired by ambition, Trickery used the time at his disposal to fashion, with his sly fingers, a figure of the same size and appearance as Truth, with identical features. When he had almost completed the piece, which was truly remarkable, he ran out of clay to use for her feet. The master returned, so Trickery quickly sat down in his seat, quaking with fear. Prometheus was amazed at the similarity of the two statues, and wanted to see them, and wanted it to seem as if all the credit were due to his own skill. Therefore, he put both statues in the kiln, and when they had been thoroughly baked, he infused them both with life. Sacred Truth walked with measured steps, while her unfinished twin stood stuck in her tracks. That forgery, that product of subterfuge, thus acquired the name of falsehood. And I readily agree with people who say that she has no feet. Every once in a while, something that is false can start off successfully, but with time, the truth is sure to prevail. I think I'm going to include that whole piece in my video. Wow, the sun's coming up already. So, perspective on it as a pastor. One last thing I'd like to share before we go is the story of Prometheus and Truth. The one from Aesop's Fables. I loved this story when I had finally read it. I think the version I have is I pulled from Wikipedia, but it's still really good, and I think I'm going to read that for you here. Okay. So, I've already read it to you guys. I think I'm going to disconnect the stream and call it wrap up what I'm doing here. I'm probably going to finish editing this sometime today. I am really tired. I don't know why it takes me so long to work up to actually working, but I'm glad I did. Good night, or